Okay, folks, Mike Partika here, and we're reviewing Isom, pages 12 through 29. And you notice I don't have the book open because there's really nothing to review. This is actually a good sequence of pages that doesn't have any real problems, any major problems that I need to point out. It does retread some of the old problems. I mean, we have Darren, who is a new character, but we don't know Darren's last name. Uh, and then there's the quiet fighting business where we've got sound effects at least in this, and I don't know why we didn't have sound effects in the Yaira fight from earlier, but it's still quiet fighting in the sense that there's no captions, there's no words, there's nobody describing what's going on, or we're certainly not in Avery Silman's head during this long sequence. But altogether, it's a very, very well written and well flowing, well drawn sequence of pages. I don't really have any problem with it. And it also kind of surprised me in that the way that some of these characters are interacting with one another, it's making me realize that this book is not the book that I thought it was. When I read the story on the campaign site, I kind of got an idea in my head of what this story is, and I'm starting to find out that that idea is wrong. So I'm really intrigued at this point to see where the story goes from here, because I'm starting to realize that I had a whole lot of assumptions going on that don't really apply. So that's good. That's a good thing. I mean, it's always good when you get surprised. So I was thinking about doing a video on those 16, 17 pages or so, and just realized I was going to be nitpicking if I did that. So instead, I want to maybe nitpick on a couple of more general items. And those two items are, number one, I don't understand why anybody had a problem with Eric July putting a one-page ad for his wife's boutique in the in Isom number one. It's 96 pages, and one page happens to be a ad. Whoop-de-doo. And not only that, but it's a well-placed ad. It's not placed in the middle of a sequence where you're like, oh my god, what happens next? And then you turn the page and it's an ad, and you're like, oh god, an ad. No, it's placed at the perfect point. I mean, it's exactly where you would want an ad to be, just to kind of give you a break. So there's nothing wrong with his having put a one-page ad in a 96-page book. I mean, come on, people. But there is one little bitty nitpick that I kind of saved from the very beginning of the book, and that's the fact that when the book starts out, it says, Florispark 2 weeks ago. Why? Why 2 weeks ago? Why is it that this book is set 2 weeks in the past from whenever we're reading it? That kind of foreshadowing makes sense if you say 2 weeks before whatever it is that is going to happen in 2 weeks from that point. But to start your book 2 weeks or 2 weeks ago and not kind of explain why, that just really doesn't make any sense. I mean, you want to just start your story present day, and then if you have to go 2 weeks later, that's fine. I mean, that's comic books, the normal progression of time. It might, your next page may take place a month after. Who knows? And it's especially confusing because the next scene in which we're introduced to Avery Silman, it actually says earlier. And I had to think, does that mean earlier than 2 weeks ago? Or does that mean earlier today versus 2 weeks ago from today? Now, as it happens, it means earlier that day 2 weeks ago. But it took me a while to figure that out. I had to go through a couple more sections before I realized, okay, this is how things are lining up. I understand now. But there was really no reason to do that. I mean, you could have started Isom on today and then just said earlier that day, and then we're fine. So I don't know. I don't know why why that had to be done. So that's basically all my nitpicking. I mean, there's things in pages 12 through 29 that I could nitpick on. I could say, how this little section of the caption should have been in this box instead of that box. Maybe you should have had some dialogue in this panel, even though it looks like he's trying to do some signaling with his hand. I see the quiet fighting. I see the lack of a name. All of that's just kind of nitpicking and retreading, and I don't want to waste your time with that. So let me just say that Isom 12 through 29 has been the most entertaining sequence of panels that there's been so far. I know there's at least one guy who's been watching these videos who said something to the effect of, I gave up after page 5. Okay, I will officially tell you now, you need to get the book again. If it's in the trash, pull it out of the trash. If it's just on a pile somewhere, take it off the pile. You are authorized. I'm giving you permission to read further in the book, because it does turn out differently than what I'm expecting, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here. So yeah, do give it a chance, especially since you must have paid a fortune just to have a copy to give up on page 5. What the hell? There's no way I'm just going to say, $35, 5 pages in, forget it. No way am I doing that. So yeah, give Isom a second chance. And other than that, I will let you know what goes on from here. I mean, I may not, if the rest of the book goes on like it has been, I might not have anything left to say. I mean, seriously. And why bother you with video after video of just commenting on the same old stuff? So thanks for following along so far. I hope to give you another video later, but if not, then I'll just give you another video. There'll be at least one more just letting you know how it all turned out, and whether I think Isom 2 is worth a look. It's looking good so far. It is. As far as pages 12 through 29 are concerned, I mean, it's a good sequence of pages, and I hope the rest of the book remains as strong. So I'm Mike Partika. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.